Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
When I picked her little arm up, it just went limp, so I figured that she was hurt real bad.
She says the baby girl was already dead. Hear from a neighbor who witnessed a Laurel County wreck that sent a grandmother to jail.
A traffic alert today about a major road construction project in Lexington that's supposed to last until September of next year.
Plus, we'll give the details on the Fayette County School System's 10-point plan to cut down on the gap in classroom achievement.
WKYT News at 5 starts now.
We begin tonight with a breaking news alert here in Lexington. Good evening. The search for a new police chief in Lexington is now underway.
We have just learned in the last half hour, current chief Ronnie Baston is being promoted to public safety commissioner. Baston will replace Clay Mason. He is leaving for a job in the private sector. Baston has served as police chief since 2008. The council is expected to confirm Baston as the new public safety commissioner at its meeting Thursday night.
A Southern Kentucky grandmother is in jail facing a murder charge after police say she killed her infant grandchild in a crash.
It happened on Parker Road in London near the hospital. Police tell us that 46-year-old Melissa Worstel lost control of her vehicle and hit a telephone pole while she was under the influence of drugs. Her granddaughter, 6-month-old Ivy Worstel, died. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy is in Laurel County with the latest on the investigation. It's our top story at 5.
Neighbors say they heard the moment when Worstel's car hit this telephone pole. They rushed out immediately to help. Diana Bullard's used to hearing wrecks happen in her front yard.
And I heard a lady saying, "Get my baby, get my baby." Well, there was 2 or 3 over here by then, and we couldn't find her. She wasn't crying or anything, the baby wasn't.
Monday night was the worst.
We could hear the woman, but I couldn't see her. I could hear her. And we finally pulled around there, and I seen the little baby's hand.
Bullard says 2 people have died on this curve, a teenager several years ago, and now a 6-month-old girl.
When I picked her little arm up, it just went limp, so I figured that she was hurt real bad.
The driver, the girl's grandmother, left the wreck with minor injuries and half a dozen charges, including murder.
The car seat not being properly installed, it was thrown all over the inside of that vehicle. The child had very severe injuries.
Deputy Gilbert Achardo says Worstel admitted to investigators she had taken methadone and Neurontin. If she had restrained the baby girl properly, Deputy Achardo thinks she might have survived the wreck. Worstel, we're told, had custody of her granddaughter. She started caring for her several months ago. In Laurel County, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
We checked. Worstel has been in the Laurel County Detention Center 5 other times on drug-related offenses. Police in Tennessee say 3 people have been killed in a crash involving 2 school buses on Asheville Highway at John Sevier Highway. It happened just before 3 this afternoon. Knoxville police say 3 people have died, but have not said if those deaths involve children or adults. They also say several students have been injured and were transported to the hospital. UT Medical Center reports they are treating 4 patients, 3 children, 1 adult. Knox County Schools says the buses involved are from Chilhowee Intermediate School and Sunnyview Primary School. All right, keep those umbrellas handy. Some chilly rain continues to fall across the bluegrass, and it looks like a sign of things to come.
It looks like the rainy weather's going to stick around all week. Let's check in now with our chief meteorologist, Chris Bailey. Chris?
Yeah, a lot of ugly out there, guys. Focusing on the fog, though, that is really blanketing the area as of right now. Look at the visibilities down to 1.5 miles in Lexington. Under a half mile showing up in Jackson, Ashland, and in the Covington area. 2.5 mile viz here into Mount Sterling. Here's what it looks like into southeastern Kentucky. That's from the National Weather Service in Jackson. Here's the view now in Lexington, Hamburg Pavilion. Believe it or not, this is a little better than what we were seeing about an hour ago, where you can at least see some of the cars that are out there on interstate or the interstate between us and Hamburg. That's something that we couldn't see a whole lot of just a little bit ago. And it's going to be one of those evenings where you'll get the the really thick fog. It'll break a little bit, then return. Live first alert defender, not a whole lot in terms of precipitation. A little rain across eastern Kentucky, but we are still dealing with a lot of drizzle and low clouds into most of central and eastern Kentucky. Focus on the forecast, guys. When I come back here in about 5 minutes, we have a lot of rain on the way. We will track it with the hour-by-hour forecast and show you how much may fall.
Thank you, Chris. Well, if you travel part of New Circle Road, the state is putting out a warning about a major traffic impact. It's all part of a major construction project to widen the road. It's expected to last until at least September of next year. WKYT's Jordan Valines is live on New Circle with details of the project and how it will affect all those drivers. Jordan?
That's right. Starting tonight at 7 p.m., construction will begin here on Leestown Road and New Circle Road, and construction is expected to last until at least September of 2016. Now, this project will affect New Circle from Versailles Road to Leestown Road, and the work will include widening of the road, demolition and construction of bridges, as well as reconfiguration of the interchanges. New Circle will be limited to 2 lanes in each direction, and barriers will be in place to allow work in the median. Officials with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet tell us that drivers should expect limited access and traffic backups throughout the project.
Once that's completed, it will certainly minimize traffic congestion and help with the flow of traffic, and also, too, to make it easier for motorists to get to one destination to the other.
Well, construction will will take place every single day from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. That is, except for Fridays, during which construction will start at 8 p.m. then go to 7 a.m. Live in Lexington, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
3 lanes of the outer loop from Leestown Road to Versailles Road are expected to be open by September 30th of next year. Fayette County public school officials are moving forward now with a plan to cut down the gap in classroom achievement.
The Equity Council has 10 recommendations for the school board to help improve balance among its students in Lexington. The board is currently searching for a new superintendent to lead the school district. WKYT's Jerica Insco has the details on how the board wants an acting superintendent in agreement with the Equity Council's recommendations.
Today's meeting wasn't out of the ordinary since the Equity Council typically meets on the first Tuesday of the month.
Now we have an opportunity to move forward, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Now, with Fayette County Public Schools needing a new superintendent, the 10 recommendations from the Equity Council for the school board have been pushed to the forefront.
Number 1, we must create district support for attention to mental health issues.
That's only one of 10 to be met by 2020. The school board realizes it's a timeline their acting superintendent will need to be on board with.
When we think in terms of the next person who's going to hold this particular role, there has to be a shown and demonstrated commitment to equity. Not only in terms of just a firm belief in it, but I think we have to be able to look back and see achievements of equity accomplishments.
The goal is to eliminate race, free or reduced lunch status, disability, and gender as predictors of the success of a student in the school system, something the current superintendent Tom Shelton agrees with.
That I'll always support these efforts because it's the right thing to do for kids.
Equality, that's the focus, to make sure every student is successful. So someone who will close the gap, that's who they want as superintendent.
It's about results and not efforts. So I tried is not good enough. We must not fail our children. Failure is not an option.
In Lexington, Jerica Insco, WKYT.
For a complete list of the 10 recommendations for the school board, just go to WKYT.com.
The former #2 official at the Pentagon now leading the contender list to be President Obama's nominee to succeed Chuck Hagel as Secretary of Defense.
Republicans threaten to do whatever they can to block the president from reforming the immigration system without Congress. We'll have the details coming up.
And a coroner has a new theory about how a Mercer County couple ended up dead in their home. We'll give you the new information coming up on WKYT News at 5:30. Administration officials are saying that former Pentagon official Ashton Carter is likely to be the president's nominee for defense secretary.
Officials say the president hasn't made a final decision, but Carter has emerged as the top candidate to succeed Chuck Hagel. Carter moved to the top of the White House's short list after several leading contenders pulled their names from consideration. The top Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee, Jim Inhofe of Oklahoma, says he supports the choice. Leaders from all 4 major sports leagues went to Capitol Hill today to testify about domestic violence in professional sports.
The Senate hearing focused on whether the leagues are doing enough to deter violent acts and punish those who commit domestic violence. Mark Albert reports now from Washington.
Top executives from the NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball face questions about what they're doing to stop domestic violence.
Professional sports, with very few exceptions, have done little to hold those who commit this crime accountable.
This video of former Baltimore Ravens player Ray Rice put the spotlight on domestic violence.
As a father of 2 daughters, I found the graphic security camera footage of running back Ray Rice and his then fiancee to be sickening.
Troy Vincent is a former player and now works for the NFL. He says the league was initially too lenient on Rice. For him, the issue is personal.
Domestic violence was a way of life in my home growing up. I relate to the 20 million victims, survivors of domestic violence, sexual abuse, in every community across our great nation.
Kim Gandy is president of the National Network to End Domestic Violence, which is pressing Congress to quadruple funding in the Family Violence Prevention and Services Act.
Without additional resources, people are right now being turned away, and more will be turned away, and that's a tragedy.
The legislation comes up for a vote next year. Mark Albert for CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The National Domestic Violence Hotline tells CBS News that call volume to its hotline doubled in the days following the release of that Ray Rice video. 3 months later, it's still nearly 50% higher than before.
The House may vote this week to undo President Obama's executive actions on immigration. House Speaker John Boehner told Republican lawmakers in a closed-door meeting today that he is leaning towards scheduling a vote on a bill aimed at blocking the president from unilaterally allowing categories of unlawful immigrants to live and work here. The move would be mostly symbolic since the president is expected to veto such a bill, and the Democratic-led Senate likely wouldn't go along with it. In the wake of recent events in Ferguson, Missouri, President Obama has proposed a $263 million package to assist community policing. It would include the purchase of 50,000 body cameras for officers nationwide. The announcement comes amid ongoing demonstrations over a grand jury's decision not to indict former Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson in the shooting death of Michael Brown. Attorney General Eric Holder says the Justice Department will announce plans in the coming days aimed at ending racial profiling.
Doctors had to surgically remove a hand transplanted onto a Bowling Green man because it was failing. The Louisville team transplanted the hand during a 16-hour procedure last week. The recipient, Jim Ray, became the first hand transplant patient in the world to have his own fat injected into his new hand. The medical team will now review the case to find out why his body rejected the new hand. This is only the second time in the Louisville Hand Transplant Program's 15-year history the new hand has had to be removed. Apple heading to trial today for a $1 billion class action lawsuit. Attorneys for consumers and electronics retailers say Apple only allowed music purchased in its iTunes store to be played on iPods instead of cheaper music players. The judge could see video testimony from Steve Jobs, the late founder of Apple. Jobs' emails will also be submitted as evidence.
It is the season of giving, and today is the official day to do it. Giving Tuesday is a global day dedicated to giving back. After Black Friday and Cyber Monday, it was started back in 2012 by the 92nd Street Y and United Nations Foundation, and as of this year, about 20,000 nonprofits have signed on.
Coming up on WKYT News at 5:30, investigators say speed and wet roads likely factors in a crash that killed a Madison County teenager.
Girl Scout cookies will soon just be a click away. Coming up in WKYT's Better Living, we'll show you the Girl Scout Cookie Finder app. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Millions of Americans suffer from depression, and many have found relief from the symptoms by using antidepressant medications. Jim Morelli talks to an expert who says many cases of depression can be treated effectively with a pair of running shoes.
Dr. Jane Erb is director of the Depression Center at Boston's Brigham and Women's Hospital. She says researchers are learning more about the power of exercise in treating depression, a therapy that, in some cases, can even take the place of antidepressant drugs.
It's really just been over the last couple decades that there's been more focused, sort of clinically validated trials that have established that there truly are appreciable effects that go well beyond placebo.
It's well known that exercise causes the release of chemicals in the brain, which bring about feelings of euphoria, the so-called runner's high. But there may be other physiological things going on as well. A recent study published in the journal Cell found that mice specially bred to contain high levels of a chemical released during exercise seemed resistant to depression brought about by stress. The important thing, Dr. Erb says, even for those with major depression, is to try and keep moving.
Because anything one can do to try to counter the forces of the depression when the depression is just getting bigger, and particularly if medications aren't working, the more it can help to kind of keep reins on that vicious circle.
In Somerville, Massachusetts, Jim Morelli for CNN.
The Girl Scouts are going digital. You can now order your Thin Mints and peanut butter patties online. As a precaution, Girl Scouts will initiate all sales via email, so you won't be able to order cookies online unless you are directly contacted by a Girl Scout. Typical cookie season timelines won't be changed. The chief communications executive for the Girl Scouts of the USA says the #1 reason people don't buy Girl Scout cookies is simply they can't find a Girl Scout.
So we are now making it easier for them to find Girl Scouts, and they can reach out to their friends and family, send them an email.
No sensitive information about the Girl Scouts will be kept online, and most actions online must be parent approved. Pizza Hut is trying to read your mind. The chain is testing the first subconscious menu in the United Kingdom. The digital menu shows diners 20 toppings and tracks their eye movement, and then builds their pizza based on which item they looked at the longest. How about that for dinner? Well, for more health, education, and consumer news, just go to WKYT.com and click on Better Living. Now, here's what's coming up for you at 5:30.